The dark web.
Dark web.
The dark web.
Dark web?
Dark web?
Dark web.
Often called the scariest place on the internet.
Dude, this is dark web.
What's dark web?
Part of the internet where no one can track you.
It's all about drugs, illegal IDs, even assassination for hire.
Yeah, the dark net is mostly about the bad guys.
Tor is a super private and anonymous web browser that people use to access the dark web.
How to get on the dark web. Okay, step 1, start with encryption, download Tor and the Tor browser.
It is used by all types of people to buy drugs, guns, or order hits on people. You name it, you can probably buy it using Tor anonymously on the dark web.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The technology behind Tor was initially created by the US government. Yes, you heard me right. The technology behind the browser that is used for some of the biggest online cybercrimes was created by the US government. Who would have ever thought, right? The technology was initially created to protect American intelligence communications. This technology would later be used by Stephen J. Murdoch to create the Tor browser. By this time, Tor had been spun out of the US government and ran as a non-profit, receiving funding from Google, Reddit, and the US government. Yes, you heard me right again. The same browser that makes it easier to anonymously allow you to buy all these illegal things was not only initially created by the US government, but to this day, still receives funding from it. This raises a lot of suspicions. How can a browser that makes illegal activity easier be funded by the very same people whose job it is to stop illegal activity? Although the US government has denied having any special access to Tor, there have been allegations saying Tor has been compromised by US law enforcement. Critics argue that Tor is not as secure as it claims, pointing to US law enforcement's investigation and shutdowns of Tor websites such as Freedom Hosting and Silk Road. They were seemingly anonymous and suddenly got seized and shut down. This raises a serious question. Is it possible that Tor has built-in backdoors that allow US law enforcement to easily de-anonymize anyone using it? In 2008, Freedom Hosting was launched. It was a Tor web hosting company that by 2013 had become the largest hosting website for Tor sites. Because Tor is anonymous and private, you can imagine what kind of sites Freedom Hosting was hosting on its servers. Some of the sites that were using Freedom Hosting even caught the attention of the anonymous hacking group, which had launched an operation to attack dark websites that had underage sexual material on their pages. Later, the FBI began pursuing Freedom Hosting with the intent to catch its creator and shut the service down. According to official documents, the FBI managed to find a vulnerability in older versions of the Tor browser and managed to exploit that vulnerability to eventually uncover the creator of Freedom Hosting, Eric Ewan Marquez. Marquez was arrested in Ireland on August 1st, 2013. Freedom Hosting was shut down soon after. On February 6, 2020, Marquez pleaded guilty to 1 count of conspiracy to advertise underage sexual material. On September 6, 2021, Marquez was sentenced to 27 years imprisonment and ordered to forfeit over $154,000.
The biggest criminal trial in the history of the internet is over this morning, and so apparently is Ross Ulbricht's freedom, the mastermind of the Silk Road website.
In February 2011, a Tor marketplace called Silk Road was launched. It was the first massively popular dark web marketplace where you could buy drugs. During its operations, it processed more than $1 billion worth of transactions. The founder of Silk Road, Ross Ulbricht, was arrested on the 2nd of October 2013 in a library in San Francisco. The FBI has claimed that the real IP address of the Silk Road server, which led them to Ross Ulbricht, was found via data leaked directly from the site's capture. IT security experts have doubted the FBI's claims because technical evidence suggests that no misconfiguration that could cause the specific leak was present at the time. On the 4th of February 2015, a jury convicted Ulbricht of 7 charges, including charges of engaging in a continuing criminal enterprise, narcotics trafficking, money laundering, and computer hacking. On the 29th of May 2015, Ulbricht was given 5 sentences to be served concurrently, including 2 of life imprisonment, without the possibility of parole. He was also ordered to forfeit $183 million. The sudden capture of Tor website creators and seizures of their sites raised suspicions. These sites were anonymous and super private. How can it be that US law enforcement managed to de-anonymize their creators and track them down? Could it be that the US government is a backdoor built into the Tor browser to catch its targets? Based on the research I've done, I have not found any credible evidence of the US government or any foreign government having infiltrated Tor. In fact, these agencies and governments are struggling to find the identities of target users on Tor. In 2014, humorously, the Russian government offered a $111,000 contract to study the possibility of obtaining technical information about users and users' equipment on the Tor anonymous network. It is safe to say that nothing significant came out of that contract. The US has not had much luck either, despite intelligence agencies claiming that 80% of Tor users could be de-anonymized within 6 months in the year 2013. That has still not happened. As late as September 2016, the FBI could not locate or de-anonymize the identity of the Tor user who hacked into the email account of Hillary Clinton. In October 2013, after analyzing documents leaked by Edward Snowden, The Guardian reported that the NSA had repeatedly tried to crack Tor and failed to break its core security. When Tor users are arrested, it is typically due to human error, not to the core technology being hacked or cracked. For example, according to court documents, the FBI was able to uncover Ross Ulbricht's identity after he allegedly posted his personal Gmail address online. But suspicions still continue to be raised on the possible idea that US law enforcement may have cracked Tor, although this information increasingly looks unlikely, because after Silk Road was shut down, multiple dark web marketplaces have popped up that are still in operation today, despite the best efforts of US law enforcement to shut them down. Tor is also open source, so if you want to verify for yourself that there is no foul play, you can read through all its code. But what is Tor? The Onion protocol on a basic level means that the data transmitted through the network is wrapped in multiple layers of encryption, much like the layers of an onion. That is why it is called the Onion router, or Tor for short. These multiple layers of encryption make it hard to de-anonymize the users on the network. Because Tor is multiple layers of encryption, it is slower than other browsers, but it conceals your location and usage because none of it can be traced back to you. The Tor browser based on this protocol allows you to access Onion sites, which you cannot access on the clear web through Google, Bing, or Yahoo. When Tor sites are combined with cryptocurrencies, it makes it very easy to visit and purchase illegal goods on various Tor sites without being traceable. When people talk about going to websites on the dark web, they typically mean these types of websites that have a .onion domain name. The reason why they have this .onion domain is because they want to be hidden from the clear web, which is where most people browse the internet and ensure that they can only be used or found anonymously through Tor networks. Contrary to what you might think, most of the activity on Tor is not illegal. Tor users include normal people who wish to keep their internet activities private from websites and advertisers run by the all-seeing eyes of big tech. Other users include people who are concerned about cyber spying and users who are evading censorship, such as activists, journalists, and military professionals. Some of the biggest websites you use have .onion domains that users can access anonymously. For example, the New York Times, BBC, and Facebook all have .onion sites. Yes, you can find some scary things on Tor if you're not careful and mindful about which links you click, but most of the illegal activities on Tor also happen on the clear web. Illegal activity online is not only exclusive to Tor, it's everywhere on the internet. Tor has a relatively small user base, and the reason why people have such negative thoughts about Tor is because it has a lot of bad press compared to other companies who have millions of dollars to spend on PR. You will never hear the stories about the thousands of activists on Tor fighting against oppressive governments, but you'll always hear stories about how easy it is to buy illegal stuff on the dark web. Tor, like almost all technologies, is not inherently bad or good. It all depends on how it is being used. Because of its anonymity and privacy, it attracts a lot of people who have bad intentions, but conversely, it helps activists whose lives depend on them staying anonymous as they fight against repressive governments. And in the middle of all these are users like me and you, who use Tor to make it harder for big tech to collect and sell our data. Tor has been endorsed by Edward Snowden. He said, quote, "Arguing that you don't care about the right to privacy because you have nothing to hide is no different than saying you don't care about free speech because you have nothing to say."